So this is my process for capturing the contact information for a CrossFit site. This is going to be used for reference or exactly as you want. You can expand on it if you can to make it better. So basically I start at the CrossFit site here, mapcrossfit.com. Once the map comes up, I zoom into the United States area and I just use my mouse to kind of keep zooming in. Uh, Once I get close to my area, I kind of move in and around. So in this case, I'm going to focus on the Washington, D.C. area here, area with 256. So I keep expanding until I get to a place where I've got all of the sites starting to show up, and I refocus the map as necessary. As you see, they're starting to pop in. Now they're 44. Now all the sites are starting to show up. And so I blow it up a little more to get to a consistency that I like to use, and this spacing is pretty good to follow the map. So what I typically do is I center the map in the area that I want. In this case, I'm kind of following the beltway, but what I do is I print this shot out right here, and I use it to keep track. And so as I go through each site, after I do a site, I may cross that site out so that I know that I've done it, and I can keep track of the areas that I've done within there. So in this case, I'm focused on the Washington, D.C. area, so I'll come down here, and then I'll find one that I haven't done before. I'll select it. Sometimes they move around a little bit, but that's okay. You just keep track of them. And so this time I'm selecting CrossFit Metro Center. So once you click on the little icon there, the site pops up that has the name of the facility. This is also a link, and it's got an address. And so what I do is I copy this. I make sure I get all of it. You can kind of see how it changes to get a little extra line at the top there. So I make sure I get all the lines, and then I do a right click copy. Control C works just as well. I copy that, and then I bring up the spreadsheet. I pick a cell that's empty, and I just do a paste right in there. And so that pastes it. It's still selected, and so while it's selected, I use the Excel copy feature, and I copy it again. And now what I do is, since this has 4 rows, actually it has 5 rows, then I make sure I start at the row right before the name starts. Just like this one has a row before the name, I click right there before the row with the name in it, or the column with the name in it, and then I go up to the Excel paste feature, and I click the paste, and I use the transpose pasting feature. This allows it to go from being a vertical to being horizontal. As you see, it pasted all the rows right in there in that line, and so that gets me my start of capturing those. Once I'm done with that, then I can go back and select the rows that are there, and I can delete those out of there. So once I've got it in the cell initially, I go ahead and click on the link. That brings up my Internet Explorer browser to that site. And we'll wait for it to pop up here. So now I'm on the site. The first thing I do is I look to see that this one has the address at the top. Some of them have an address and phone number at the bottom. And so what I do is, sometimes the phone number for the facility is different, so I'll copy that number. I'll do a Control C here, and then I'll go back down to the thing, and I'll copy that into the phone number that was on the website. And so in this case, you can see they were both the same. In some cases, as you can see up here, they were different. What's the registered phone number versus the site phone number. Next thing I do is I go and look for how many coaches they have. That's what the number of C up here is, the number of coaches. So I look to see if they have something on their site that talks about their coaches. It's pretty much, you can go through the site tags, or whatever the site links are. And this one, it's got coaches, so I can click on coaches there, go to that part of the site, and then I count how many coaches they have. So in this case, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coaches. So I'll go back to the spreadsheet, and I'll indicate 10 coaches there. And then while I'm on the coaches page, I'll look to see if any of those coaches are actually the owner or director. Typically it's the one at the top, if that's the case. So I'll kind of look through them to see, or I'll do a search for that type of field. I just, Control F to bring up the search feature in IE, and I'll do coach. Nope. I'm gonna do owner. And in this case, there's no match found. Sometimes I'll do director, and there's no director found. So it doesn't look like this will be a site where the owner may be listed there. So one of the other things I'll do is I'll bring up one of my email extractor tools. In this case, I'll use the InSpider. And so what I'll do is I'll go back to the home page. I'll copy that link. I'll go back to the program. I'll paste it in here. I'll make sure that regular expression is selected. And I click the query library and select email address. And then I click go. And it says, do you want to erase the old results? So yes, in this case I do. And it goes out and looks on the site to see if it can find email addresses. And so what I'm looking for here is to see if there are any emails that are different from the info at one. So we'll capture the info at one, but it doesn't seem like it's got any additional emails on there that may lead to other pages like that. So what we'll do is we'll copy. And what we can do, we can copy field. We'll copy the email address for the info. And in cases where we only find the info address, then we put that in the second email column, email 2 here. And so we'll go back down to the CrossFit Metro Center, and we'll paste in the email address. And then we'll go back to the site and do a cursory look to see if there's any other information that may give us an idea of who the owner is, that kind of thing. As you can see, this site has 3 different ones, but we're focused on the Metro Center one here. We'll look to see if there's any additional information. Typically, the contact, sometimes the about page additionally, so we can look at fact to see if there's any information in there with a more detailed name of a person that we may be able to find. So in this case, we couldn't find the owner or the owner email address. After we finish, we'll go back to our sheet that we printed out that has all the little dots on there for locations. We'll cross that one out, and then we'll move on to the next one. Thanks.